And I know there's at least one more person that's on her way, so, but we've got a quorum already, so. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda, but I would also like to say that if Laura Youngbird does come, and she might be caught in traffic too, we're expecting her, she's going to do a short presentation on the Native American programs over at the Plains Art Museum. So if we could add that to the agenda, and if that could be a little bit flexible, we'll fit her in whenever she comes, so. All right, so with that addition, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so the minutes are in our packet. If there's no suggestions, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, so the next item then, since Laura's not here, is to review the recommendations for the spring art call for artists, or whatever you would want to call it. I think we're going to change the name. It was kind of a strange name, creative something or other.
Creative Capital Sponsorships.
There we go. And before the next round, we're going to probably do some adapting or changing of the name, as well as perhaps a little bit in the process. And then a subcommittee, which we pulled from, if you all remember, we have a roster of individuals that have offered their expertise and their time to be involved in task forces or subcommittees. We pulled, how many? 4, was it? 4 people from that group? 5 people from that group. And that subcommittee met a couple weeks ago and are making a recommendation. There were 4 proposals, and you have a brief description of each proposal. And the recommendation then that came from that group was to fund 2 of them at what they were requesting, and then the other 2 to offer a stipend to them to develop the idea a bit more. And one of the artists, Olivia, is here. And the reason that a couple of them were suggested to be awarded a stipend was Olivia's was the light sculpture along the river path. And we were just real concerned about those structures being able to withstand a flood, because it would be on the other side of the flood wall. So hopefully that proposal will come back, and perhaps a little more thought to the placement and or the structures themselves. And then the other one was Emily Williams Wheeler. So once we have had some discussion here and action is taken, we will sit down with each, or at least communicate to each one of the artists the results. So the purpose of us reviewing this, and let me just say this, is not to necessarily, because that subcommittee included experts, artists, most of them, experts in making art. And as a group here, even though we have artists in this group, we're probably not the experts on the content. So the review process at this level really should be, was it a fair and equitable process? Does it make sense? Is there any objectionable kind of images? Those kinds of issues. So with that, I'll open it up for questions or discussion. Or maybe none. Any questions? If not, motion would be in order too.
I will move that we,
The motion is right in the minutes,
Is
or
it?
right
Okay,
in the memorandum, so if you
I
want
was
to
going to
just
say, we
read
should
it.
have written it down, but I guess we did. Oh, in the minutes.
I think it's up one page, yeah. Nope, after the minutes. Go one more after the minutes. Or are you missing a page? There.
Oh, good, thank you. All right. I move that we fund the Downtown Community Partnership Business Improvement District's proposal for 2,750, FM Ballet's proposal for 2,000, and to provide a $1,000 stipend to Emily Williams Wheeler and a $1,000 stipend to Olivia Bain to further investigate their proposals and reapply during the next application period.
Is there a second?
Could I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Let's get a second on the table, and then we can do some amendments if you want.
I'll make a second.
Okay. Mark?
For the 2 stipends, would we make a requirement that they at least come back in the second application period and let us know if it was determined to be not feasible, or I guess if they don't come back in the second application period with a new application, that they should at least communicate with us and let us know that they determined it wasn't feasible or something like that.
Yeah, we've had some discussion about this, and, I think the subcommittee didn't talk about it that much, so it is up to this group, really, to determine what we would like the stipulation to be. The thought was that we would really like to see these proposals come back, but, yeah, if the artist doesn't feel like it can be adjusted or changed, would the group not want to offer the stipend, or offer half of it up front and half of it when another proposal is delivered? It's open. Yeah, Nicole?
Yeah, so this meeting space is hard to get. So,
Just yell.
yeah, so maybe just to provide some clarity and some thought process for the staff, from the staff's perspective, the stipend came in discussion, I think, a little bit with the subcommittee and probably more so amongst staff and with chair and vice chair. And really what we want to do is we recognize that it's going to take time. First of all, we're extremely grateful and thankful for all the proposals we received. And we know this is the first time coming and first time in this kind of formal process, and it's somewhat experimental in nature, and we're continuing to evolve as we learn along the way. And so with that, we recognize that it's work for the artist to submit the proposal in the first place. And then these are such great ideas that we would thoroughly enjoy the opportunity to work further with Olivia and William and Emily in this situation, just to even investigate. So that's time on their end. And so if you think about $1,000, it's really only 20 hours of their time at $50 an hour to even spend time with us to further investigate their proposal and their ideas. A lot of the questions that started coming up from the staff perspective was just more feasibility and logistics, and so requires some technical thinking, some others. And then as we were brainstorming among staff, how cool would that be, even if they chose not to reapply, but to offer those rights to that idea, basically. So that's what the $1,000 helps us get to, and add that to our, say, portfolio of public art possibilities that are in our public art master plan. And so if we can think about curating public art ideas and public art possibilities and a repertoire, so whether or not we have the $15,000 as time goes on, year 2019, we do know we're trying to gain our ideas and investigation and dialogue with artists. So we're extremely appreciative of the artists sharing their ideas, and we would like to honor that time by asking their time and attention with us for another 20 hours or so worth of elaboration, if you will.
Nicole, could staff just give us a report if
Yes.
indeed the proposal, they
Absolutely.
didn't follow through? Maybe the staff could just indicate as to
Yeah,
perhaps
absolutely.
even the reason.
Yeah, because we learn along the way as well, so.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? And let me reiterate too, all the proposals were great. There was just a little bit of concern about cost on one and some other things too. So it's not that the proposal was not actually liked or anything like that. It was just more technical kind of issues, so. All right. And we're actually thrilled to have a performing arts one, which is nice. Okay, so if there's no other questions, the motion is on the table. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, Laura's not here yet, so we'll go on to the work plan. As you'll remember, and this is the big, long sheet in your packet, we've been working on this particular item for a few months. We initially started off with the objectives from the master plan and then boiled it down to, I think, 4 or 5 major areas, 5 actually: outreach, generate new ideas, evaluate funding and growth. And then from that, actually put some action steps to that. So since we finished the work at the commission level, staff and the vice chair and myself have been working on filling in some more details. So when you look at this, you can see under outreach, develop a marketing plan with convention and with CVB, and some of the detail along with that. Hopefully Q2 we'll get that started, not necessarily finished, but hopefully to present probably a plan of sorts even to the city commission by October. That's probably a little optimistic, but we'll try for it. The second item being online marketing with public access to a public art inventory. We've talked about an app of some sorts being available to the public. So again, you can take this and review it on your own if you haven't already. Talking about doing that, trying to accomplish that within Q3. And then conduct community listening sessions. That's probably the item where we were feeling like we don't quite know exactly what form that's going to take or what it's going to look like. We have started some of the community engagement with the capital project being the larger permanent kind of structure project. But the longer term, we need to figure out better and more clearly how we would actually engage the public in a broader perspective. So hoping to perhaps talk a bit more with Jack Becker, since he was instrumental in getting the master plan together, with better needs identification done by Q3. Meetings with developers, the same thing. We don't quite know what form that's going to take, how it's going to look. Hi, Laura. We'll finish this up and then we'll invite you up. So again, that's something that we're going to have more conversations probably with Jack Becker, but also looking at if we could get a group of developers together, perhaps have someone come in that speaks their language, that understands the importance of the interplay between art and development, that we would try to do that. And then, again, cultivating partnerships are ongoing. Again, strategy needs to be identified there. Generating new ideas, re-examining the public art possibilities. What we talked about there is just having an initial phone conversation with the artists that were selected and put into the master plan, just to see where they're at. Are they still interested in pursuing something? And if so, how would we move forward? So that would be, something hopefully we would get done in Q2. Reviewing the capital, and you can see the leads on a lot of these are, commission and staff with staff support. The next one, reviewing the capital improvement plan. There's really a lot of that process that has already been put in place. So we're hoping that, as staff works with engineering and other staff inside the structure, that will be cemented into the process a little bit better. to incorporate an artistic perspective in the planning of the infrastructure. And you can see there, the staff are the lead on that one. And then what we're also then directing staff is that every quarter, they will come to the commission to report on what projects are being looked at and how the artistic perspective is being incorporated, so we don't lose track of it. And then finally, integrate into the committee work. And again, that's really staff-led. Evaluation, identify and implement a method to capture the impact. This one's a tough one. Don't quite know how we're going to do that, but we're thinking a consultant would probably be appropriate there, and getting a start on it at least before the end of the year. Identify a long-term plan for funding. Again, that one's going to be probably a long-term, few years, pulling a group together in the community to try figure out how that would happen. Starting perhaps in Q2, and it'll go on probably for a while. Building the capacity of both the commission and the staff, and that's part of the reason why we invited Laura here today, trying to incorporate some education into each one of our meetings so that as a commission, we become a little bit more aware of and aware of, I guess, resources that are available, and truly what we're trying to accomplish in the community. And then the staff, you can see some of the action steps there. Again, some of this is ongoing. Some of it, hopefully, in regards to influencing the budget process, will have to be done soon. All right, questions, comments? Look like a feasible plan, do you think, or does it make sense? Maybe it's the first question.
It makes sense. I'm wondering if some of the timelines are a little aggressive.
Okay. Are a little optimistic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Good work.
Yep, that's
But no,
very
I like
true.
the layout. That's very, it helps my mind
Yeah.
understand the journey better. So this is nice.
And I think what we'll do, at least quarterly, is review the progress column and just see how things are coming along.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. If there aren't any other suggestions or questions, I think a motion to approve would be probably good and in order. Unless you want to digest this some more. And that's the other question, you know, if you feel like you need some time to look at it.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, thank you. So Laura is here, and I think most of us probably know her. She's the director of the Native American programs at Plains Art Museum, and I believe you're just going to let us know kind of what you're doing, probably. Laura, if you'll go to the microphone, it's hard to hear up here.
Oh, sure. And I don't know if you know, but Joe Williams is associate Director of the Native Art Programs at the Plains Art Museum.
Joe?
Did you get caught in the traffic, Laura?
I did. Took me 10 minutes to get
Yeah.
from Plains Museum to Forest Street. Then I got a parking place right there at the library. I'm like, wow, I got a parking place. And then I walked into the old
Oh,
meeting
no.
hall and saw that it's over here, so.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to drive in my car to try to get to the other parking lot, so it took me a little extra time.
I've never sat on Second Street for 15 minutes in my life. Yeah. It's like, what? So it takes me 2 minutes. Right by the first bad lane. And, you know, I thought it was like, nope, just too few bridges.
Maybe I will just talk about it. I did put it on here, but doesn't seem to be coming up. But it's all fresh in my memory, so I'm sorry about that. But I had some images of some of the artist work that we're going to be exhibiting. We have an exhibit up now called Wasmo Bajazi, which translates into power lines. And it's a work of 25 Native American contemporary artists, you know, working in several venues. In media, we have film, fiber art, actual dresses, and sculpture, and collage, and a very, very large weaving that's on the cover. This image that's on the cover is about 10 feet wide, by Maggie Thompson, who lives in Minneapolis. The exhibits coming up after Wasamo are, we'll have Athena Latosha, and I'm sorry, her work is absolutely amazing. She does very large scale work. If you're familiar with the atrium of the museum, it will cover that entire wall. Sorry. And she uses India and walnut ink and a lot of like rubbing alcohol, and she paints with tires, like remnants of tires that you find alongside the road, those really scrappy things. So she really scratches up it's photographic paper that she scratches up, and beautiful, beautiful washes that she gets, and she throws dirt on them and different things, but they're quite lovely. So she will be here, and I had all the times and dates, but I think Friday afternoons while she's here, you'll be able to come in and talk to her, ask questions, and see how she does these. After that, we have Col Hammer, who is a very well-known artist in New York, and there's an exhibit that was curated at the M, and we're getting it on loan from them. Brad is from Wisconsin, but our guidelines with our programming is that we need to stay within like North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. But since it was an exhibit in Minnesota, we're borrowing it, and we can bring his work here. It's quite fabulous, and he does very large pieces as well. And then after. Okay, I'm just kind of running a blank. But we have work going on all the time and bringing in new work. And we have work from Racing Magpie that'll be coming. I don't know the dates on that. But Plains is a contemporary art museum, and so our artists are, for the most part, contemporary artists. And I think that's very important for people to know and understand that Native Americans do not live in the past, and were among all of us, and probably people in here already know that, but it's just refreshing to to work with these amazing artists and see the incredible work that they're producing. And we just lost Truman Lowe, passed away at the end of March, and we had an exhibit of his up for a year, I think 2017. And it was really hard for me to see it go down, and extremely hard to know that he's passed on. He's just an amazing person. He was also curator of the National Museum of the American Indian at Smithsonian, the first curator. So he took that huge collection, Gustav Hayes collection, and built that and curated several exhibits in his time there. We have a Cecilia Fire Thunder coming tomorrow evening, if you can manage that, 6 to 7. Cecilia is an activist and feminist and an artist. She was the first woman chairman at Pine Ridge, and unfortunately she was impeached for trying to get a women's clinic going. But she's, the name fits her well, Fire Thunder, and she'll be talking. She has dolls in the piece, in the exhibit, Washimo, and she'll be doing a workshop for girls 12 to 18, teaching them about how to respect their own bodies, and that time, in that age group that so many women, young girls, don't value themselves, and especially a lot of Native women, and not all, but she really likes to reinforce that she's a go-getter, and she encourages young people all over to stick up for what they believe in and stick up for yourself. We'll also do we'll be going to Circle of Nations on Saturday, and we're doing a workshop there with the young ladies at Circle of Nations School in Wapaton. Both Joe and I taught there for many years before coming here, and Joe went to graduate school and quite a few other things. Yeah, we have artist talks, artists in residence, all kinds of programming. We also do a lot of outreach, and we plan to go all over. And I've been doing this every summer, trying to just make a loop and go to a lot of the rural areas where Native artists live and work. They've been very grateful to be able to exhibit work and be here and show their work at a museum, and it's been beneficial for them and for our community. So I did bring some information if you're interested. I don't want to take up your entire meeting time. I could go on, but
Laura,
thank you for your time.
could you just give us some background? I know the Native American program at the Plains was initially funded by Bush. Is that right, or?
No, they don't they're kind of shy about it, but Cargill.
Okay, Cargill.
And we're funded through 2020. And their focus has changed, so we will not have funding to go forward. So hopefully Plains really wants to continue this work. Mm-hmm. And I believe our audience does appreciates it as well. We've gotten a lot of feedback and comments.
And as I understand, it's a fairly unique program in the region, or perhaps even the nation? At least the region?
At least the region. I think Minneapolis has a good start. They're featuring a lot of Native artists. Santa Fe has been around with the railroad for 100 years, and that's where most artists unfortunately move to Santa Fe or Albuquerque to continue or expand their careers, because it's really hard. We have like master artists that are still working at their kitchen table, and, you know, they just don't get and they sell the work really cheap because they just, you know, there aren't the very
Sure.
rich buyers or museums that can do that. But at our festivals that we've had yearly art festivals, Native Arts and Crafts festivals, and those have gone really well. And the artists have always been really pleased, you know, with the purchase. And we're able to give them a stipend. They don't have to pay for, you know, a booth. A lot of times that's very prohibitive too. So.
Questions for Laura? Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it.
Should I just leave these here, or?
Sure. If you want to leave them over by Nicole, and we can pick them up as we walk out, or the audience can pick it up if they want.
Thank you.
So if I can add one thing to what she had said. So under Laura's tenure as the director of Native American programs over there, she has oversaw over 103 programs out of the Plains Museum, worked with nearly 200 artists from around the area that have come in and exhibited or been a part of the programming over there, and has interacted with the thousands of people that have come in through the Plains over the last 5 years. So, and she just returned from a month-long art residency down in Santa Fe. So she is tireless in her efforts to promote the program and art, and yeah, it's just done so well for the Plains Art Museum.
Well, let me also say that one of the internal commissions that we did do a presentation, actually I think I did it, was the Native American Commission. And a question was asked at the end, because at the end there's a slide that talks about partnerships, and a member of the Native American Commission asked, so what would a partnership look like? And I did not answer that question very well, but it just seems like there's opportunity here. We've got leaders in the community through the Plains with that program, and then we have the commission here, as well as a Native American Commission. So if there was any way to bring that into some synergistic kind of project or program or effort, it would be wonderful. I don't know what it would be or how it would happen, but I think there's an opportunity.
Laura's got a thought.
Oh, yeah. Can you go back there? Sorry, Laura. I am hard of hearing.
We have been working with the Fargo Public Library, the Indigenous Community Circle, Daughters of the Earth, and I have put on the Native American Festival, Arts and Crafts at the museum, and also Education Series at the library. There's been that, and that's third year going with that.
Right.
And it'll be the 5th year for the Arts and Culture, the Craft Festival. So,
Great.
and there's lots more we can do, I know.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the update on the forecast artist workshop. Megan, were you going to do that, or was I going to? Or
Yeah, I can give a quick update. So we received word from Forecast Public Art that all of the grant that they asked for was not granted, and so there were some they had to make some changes. They didn't receive all the funding. Based on that, they still will have the workshop, but they will just condense it into one day.
This is the one where Moorhead was asking or requesting that we participate, and we had agreed to put in $750 into it. So it's still going to happen. It'll just be one day instead of 2 days. And 30 artists? Yeah. So I'm assuming we'll be involved in getting the word out. And by the way, too, we're still working on filling out our list of our distribution list. So if anybody up here has anybody that wants to be added to that list, let Megan know.
Or anybody out there that knows of somebody that should be
yes.
on the list.
All right, so item number 6 really is related to what Laura just did, which is we're looking for ideas for presenters or education that you think would be helpful. It would be great to let us know if you have some contacts, or if you have questions about something, and we could try to find someone that could come and present on it. So it's just an invitation for everybody here to consider. All right, any other business? Anybody from the public want to say anything? Okay. If not, I understand we really don't need to make a motion to adjourn, but that's the way I've always done it, so a motion to adjourn would be good.
Didn't know that.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
Opposed? All right, next meeting's May 15th. Thank you so much.